Hello there, world history people. Let's keep learning all about imperialism in Asia. Let's do it. All right. So, in the year 1900, there were roughly 45 countries in the world. And that's largely because imperial countries took over everywhere in Africa and Asia. I've already talked about the Africa bit in the last series, so now we're learning about what was going on in Asia about 100 years ago from today. A whole lot of drugs were widely available. That's going to be a big part of my second part of the unit. Europeans think they're taking these savage people and educating them, but it's going to be quite the opposite. Europeans are going to plunder these places for their resources. Okay, and I've already explained imperialism in the Africa part that you should have watched before, but once again, it's these industrialized countries. I'm talking about European countries and also America and Japan, and they're just looting the rest of the world for resources. And they largely are capable of doing this because they have fancy technology. The rest of the world does not. Okay, there's another map that just shows you how much the world, all these countries took over. And everybody's just grabbing places all over the global bag. And they're reaching out and taking stuff, even from their faraway countries. Okay, and I would say if there was a winner of the age of imperialism, it would probably be the country of Great Britain, United Kingdom. They took over India. India was one of the most populated countries in the world at this time, and it became an incredible source of wealth for them. India just was having so much money and so many resources. It was providing Britain with everything it needed. Britain also took over Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and hundreds of islands around the world. They had the most land than any other culture in world history, and the old saying was, the sun never set on the British Empire, because Britain was just everywhere you could expect them to be. In a way, this is going to be a bad thing later in history because they're going to get kind of overextended, but Britain was just involved in everybody's business. And also the old slogan, Britannia ruled the waves. They had this really epic navy, and they kind of tried their best to control all sea traffic all the way up until the end of the Second World War. All right, let's check it out. So this is the full extent of the British Empire. All of these countries were owned by Britain during this time period. Here's another map, shows kind of the same thing. Here's the faces of all the different people who are part of this British Commonwealth Empire of Nations. And then this is kind of an interesting map. Every country in pink was attacked by Britain at some point in world history. So Great Britain is definitely the most aggressive nation in the history of the world because they've just hit everybody over various courses of history, except for the few countries that are in white right here. Okay, so yeah, Britain's favorite colony, of course, was India, as I already said. And during this period of India's history, the British were totally in charge. They had this sort of fake government of higher-end Indians in charge, but the people pulling the real strings, making the real decisions, were the British administrators, called the British Raj. And they made sure that all kinds of money and wealth made its way back to Britain. So Britain got super duper duper rich off of India. Okay, let's check out some pictures here. So yep, there they are, just hanging out with some elephants and stuff. Here's a white dude getting carried around by some Indian guys. And then I think the imperialism, even in this picture, comes to mind. It's sort of like, look how much bigger this European dude is than all these other Indian people. And it made this sense that they were maybe more important, that they were better, and it just has to do with all that racist stuff back during this time period. And then here's the extent of the British Raj. Okay, now, I can't say that the British Raj was all bad. Look, largely taking over a country and sending its resources back to your country, that is bad. But Britain did some good things for India. They built a really impressive railroad network. They made India's agriculture a lot more efficient, so they were able to grow a lot more food. More people had food. They created a much better legal system that was a lot more fair to people because their old system was largely based on what caste you were in. And upper-class kids in India got English educations. They got to travel around the world. They were given more or less the same rights as British citizens. So some things were cool, but the whole fact that your country's owned by someone else, that's not cool. Okay, so this is British India right there. And then here they are making railways, bringing in new equipment to do agriculture with, making more trains, and then there they are raising the British flag in India. Okay, and this is what I think is the most truly impressive thing about this whole part of history, is very few British people actually ran India. They only had 3,500 British guys who ruled over the population of 300 million Indians. That's the population of the United States today. I mean, imagine if our government was only ruled over, or our entire country was ruled over by 3,500 people. Like, that's like almost unbelievably a small number. So they're like, Mr. Brown, why didn't they fight back? Why didn't they resist? Why didn't they kick out the British? And well, I'll get there in the next slide. But yeah, the British Raj had a incredibly efficient administration. And the other thing that the British were really smart in doing is they used divide and conquer tactics. India has a lot of different castes, it has a lot of different religions, a lot of different cultures. Britain just made sure that they constantly were pulling the strings so that the ethnic groups of India were hating each other more than they were hating their European overlords. So yeah, they just exploited those divisions and kept that country divided and not united. Okay. So yeah, here's some more pictures of these white dudes living in India getting treated like royalty. Here there's people begging for food and stuff. And here they are getting rickshawed around places, a whole family being treated in luxury. And, I mean, the lady's cart fell in a ditch. Does she even get out to help? Not really. She just has her workermen push her out for her. Okay, so there was one time during the Raj where the people of India got really, really mad. And it all has to do with the way that their soldiers were treated. So Britain, of course, ruled over India, and Britain demanded that all young Indian men serve, well, I don't know if it was all men, but there was many, many young Indian men who were employed in the British military. And these Indian men in the military were known as sepoys. And the British didn't really look into the culture of India, which is why some of the first things that I taught in this world history class about the various religious cultures of the world, they're so important. Well, Britain told all of these Indian soldiers, hey, you guys, we're going to give you guns, and these guns, they have these bullets that you use for them, but surrounding these bullets is this wax paper made of cow fat or pig fat. And what we want you to do is bite off that paper and then put your bullets in your guns. These guys are like, wait, what? These bullet cartridges are made out of animal fat, of cows and pigs? According to both the Hindu religion and the Muslim religion, you are never allowed to eat cow or pig under any circumstance, not even their fat, not even bite it and put it in your mouth for a second. So these sepoys got really, really mad. And it was sort of the spark to this rebellion, collectively known today as the Sepoy Rebellion. So the people of India fought back against the British Raj because they just didn't understand their culture and the fact that it's religiously intolerant for them to even to consider eating cow or pig. All right, let's check it out. So here's some of those sepoys. Here's how they were to load up the bullets and the guns, and there's a bunch of grease around the outside of this cartridge pack. They had to bite into it. Here it kind of describes it some more. It was either cow or pig fat, and they were like, no way are we going to put that in our mouths. So they fight back against the Europeans, start a rebellion. Well, the British army got called in from all corners of the world, and Britain refused to give up India. They eventually did crush the Sepoy Rebellion. They brought in some brand new machine guns, some brand new heavier cannons, and they continued to have direct rule over India until 1947. So Britain would not give this country up. I think they did ultimately realize the mistake they made with the whole cow fat and pig fat thing in their bullets, but it still just showed that they really didn't have a cultural understanding of where they were in the world. Okay, and I'll talk about that in the next video. Peace out.